You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 16th meeting of the Trail Creek Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Can everyone stand to join us in saying the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. And welcome to our April meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes. I move to approve the minutes as presented for March 19th.
Second.
Any questions or further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. And the fund report? Crystal, anything that stood out to you that we should know about?
I'll make a motion to accept funds.
I'll second it.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So unanimous passing of that approval. Moving on to payment of the bills.
I was looking for an insurance payment. I didn't see if you got paid any insurance now or...
We didn't look at that on insurance, Crystal. We were.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it. Okay.
I thought I remember seeing something else.
I remember that. You say that, I remember.
Any questions on payment of the bills? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve payment of the bills?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, do we have any correspondence this month?
Does that count for phone?
Letters, phone, email, if they gave you their name and address, yes.
So we had numerous calls and complaints about the trash pickup, the waste pickup on Fridays. I think we already prepared ourselves for that last meeting, but I didn't really a lot of the residents are requesting some type of letters being sent or emails to update them on that type of information. Not everybody has social media.
So, Pete has been in contact with Eric from Borden. I've also been in contact with Eric from Borden, and you have been in contact with Eric from Borden as well. It's our account representative. It was Borden's decision to change us to Fridays, not something that we decided to do arbitrarily. And the yard waste that goes into the containers, and Pete, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the yard waste that goes in containers is not supposed to contain leaves, because leaves break down differently and can cause different issues with the composting. However, according to IDEM, regular yard waste, grass clippings, sticks, etc., things that aren't leaves are considered okay to go into the landfill, and did go into the landfill even before with the regular yard waste pickups. What it does, it doesn't go into the county's area where they allow you to drop off sticks or other yard waste to create mulch, because you can't turn grass into mulch. But that material instead gets composted and helps to break down the other trash that's in the landfills. So, reading that through IDEM's website so I could verify what I was told by Eric from Borden, it appears that we are in compliance with everything that we need to be. I don't think that they'll change back to Mondays simply because they lack the manpower to do so. So we're still getting the pickups, we're still getting services that we're paying for. We're just getting them on a different day, which is probably inconvenient for some of us, but that's something that's beyond our control right now. The other thing that I'll say publicly is that we are up for renewal on our contract and bids this year, so we'll be looking to have that bid out towards the end of the year once that comes about. You have a question? If you could stand up for me and state your name and address. Thank you.
621 Pine Tree Drive. What are we supposed to do with these?
So the leaves, we're doing the spring cleanup right now. So you can rake them to the side, make sure there are no sticks or limbs, just like you would in the fall, and they'll come around with the leaf truck.
Thank you.
I'm Diane Carter. I called today for another container. They're going to deliver it tomorrow, so you just need 2 containers.
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's real easy. They seem real capable of doing
Yes.
that for us.
Now, there was some confusion early on the containers, so everyone should be able to call Borden directly. If you need their phone number, we're happy to give it to you. You can get in touch with one of the council members or Crystal. But you can call Borden directly and they will deliver a second container at no cost.
Yes.
Once you get to the third container, they will start to charge you. So, just so everyone's aware of that little issue as well. Any other correspondence? You have a comment?
Yeah, just a comment on continuation with that, which is a little fuzzy, and I spoke to our Dave Baker regarding the bags.
Yes.
Because I asked him, and I told him, I said, I can't, if one neighbor asked me about the garbage, those bags, those brown bags, was to get the cables or how is that be used or collected? So right now, my understanding is that he is used to the spring cleanup part, that we put leaves in it only, not sticks, but leaves only. And that's what's been kind of happening around the neighborhood a little bit. And our guys, go around and kind of know individuals, residents that might be using those. And they may not get it like now, but that's in the springtime. He knows to go get those bags. And he has to take those bags all the way to the county fairgrounds, dump them out.
Correct.
So that's what happened with the bags, but he's got a collection of them. So that bag thing kind of goes throughout the year, it's a little bit confusing, so that's the fuzzy part. I don't know where he doesn't know where to start or stop, he knows springtime.
Right, but spring cleanup is
But now I
now,
don't know about summer.
now through May 3rd, I believe. We can figure that out with him.
Yeah, that's fine, because people are putting them out, and they should be nice that they would call street departments so they know to come get it, so it's not sitting out there all week too, and in the rain.
And I think for now, the bags are fine.
Yeah.
Going forward, once that's done, Borden does want everything in containers because their truck is meant to pick those things up and dump and then put it back. So it helps them avoid injuries and it helps them to move more efficiently through the town. So we'll have to ask them what they think about the yard waste bags, so I can't give an answer on that right now.
Yeah, because they use the Borden, they use that, the guy you probably seen it, that claw thing. And they have problems, with the big containers that we all pretty much have. That's the standard, they can grab it, that thing grabs it good, picks it up, throws it over. Some people throw out those little round plastic guys, and the claw comes around, doesn't really grab them a little bit, so it kind of moves up that, it doesn't get picked, I'll just say. I know that the driver will not get out and pick up the mess, he won't do that. So that's why he's asking everybody's asking, make sure the proper container is there so that the thing works correctly.
And yes, absolutely. Thank you.
That and one additional thing, I know driving around the town, I noticed that a lot of people had their bins out for pickup yesterday. I don't know what we need to do in order to get the word out to people who don't have social media or who aren't paying attention to that. We need to address that stuff because there are some people that think it's
So-
Monday pickup now.
I think we as a town are probably going to have to send out a postcard.
That's what I'm thinking too.
So I don't think we need a motion for that. I think we can just send that out. We can
Right.
design it and send it out. So, okay. So Crystal, if you'll remind me, if you and I need to get together to come up with a postcard to send out to notify people of the trash. Anything else? Moving on to reports. Anything from MS4? Chris, have you heard anything from MS4?
Other than they submitted the annual report, that was mailed off, so everything's on track.
Okay. And moving on to your report.
Nothing to update, unless there are questions for me.
I don't think that I have any right now. Anyone else have questions for Chris? Okay. Moving on to Ken.
No report this month.
Okay, this is fast tonight. How about the park department? Nice to see you. When you stand up, if you would make sure your mic is turned on for me. Okay.
All right. Okay, so what do you guys have in front of you? We met yet last night. And I think the first item of business is we do have a new member. I know that it was not on the agenda for you guys for this month, but we have someone that has submitted their information to the town hall and is interested in joining for this next meeting, the next council meeting, and would like to be our 5th member now that Jim is no longer with us. So I didn't know how I could ask you guys to see if that's an option, but.
So I think she can go ahead and volunteer with you and work with you.
Okay.
Officially as a park board member, we'll have to do that at the next meeting.
Okay, and that's what I explained to her, so I was gonna say, we have our next meeting on the 6th. I was gonna say, which I don't think will end up being before, obviously before your guys's, but she's very knowledgeable and has a lot of contacts, so we're looking forward to having her join us, so. All right, so I think the biggest item for us is the Centennial Festival. I know that yesterday at our meeting, you guys were kind of asking where we are as far as our budget, that we're asking for what we're looking at doing. So that kind of spreadsheet that you have in front of you are just some of the ideas that we're looking at. Some of the things are tentatives yet. I have reached out to the Indiana Tobacco and Alcohol Commission to see. I know that back in the day, I've been informed that there was possibly a beer tent there. Not something that we are counting on necessarily, but something we'd like to put in there just so we can kind of, because we're looking at having the event again on Saturday, June 22nd, just because the Queen's Fest is no longer a thing, so we kind of wanted to take over that date. But we're looking, we originally had the hours from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., but I know that it was pointed out that we don't have the best light at Nelson Park. And so maybe shortening that up might be a better idea. So we are currently revising that from 12 p.m. until 8 p.m. But some of the ideas that we have are during the day, we have very similar to the Fall Festival, bouncy house, craft vendors. We are charging for the craft vendors at this go around. It is $50 for a booth, and we are asking all of them to pay by check or drop money off to the town hall, so we have our hands out of it, and everything is accounted for before they get there that day. So I was gonna say that's a little different. We were looking at possibly 40 vendors. That's what we have we kind of mapped out that we have room for. And hopefully if we have 40, that is about $2,000 that we're hoping to make back from that. But I was gonna say craft vendors, bouncy house for the kids. During the day will mainly be kid activities, face painting, things like that you see mapped out there. I was gonna say, and then kind of from like 4:30 to 8, we were looking at possibly that's when we would have the adult activities, which would be like an adult, like cornhole, like a cornhole tournament, possibly a beer tent, and then a band, which I forgot to put the band on there, but we are well aware that there are insurance, that we have to talk about insurance liabilities. We have to have security, which I talked to Steve Dick about, who has said that he might have some people there as well. I've also reached out to Tim Bowman at the Moose,
who said that he has plenty of volunteers to help us kind of manage that day as well, because we can't have on third-party Trail Creek, we'd like them to be included. And then as far as refreshments, things like that, we're pretty much letting Frosty Boy handle it because she did such a good job with us for the Fall Festival. And she'll be serving it out of the Nelson, they're out of Nelson Park where the concession stand is. So I was gonna say, this is just kind of an outline. We're still firming things up day by day. And so we're still, the beer tent is tentative, but again, we can have it, we cannot have it. We're not putting all of our eggs in that basket. Even if we just have a nice day for the kids and families, we are okay with that as well. So we have signage we looked at. I was gonna say, what you're seeing up to the top are retro graphics are for the shirts. We thought that might be a good way also to kind of get some donations into the parks. Koozies, and then the signage just to advertise for the Centennial Festival. And we are only looking at using the one park, which will be Nelson. So, I was gonna say, I don't know if anybody has questions about that, or we're still trying to figure
Anyone,
out.
questions, comments?
Just a quick question, just a reminder about baseball. I know we talked about this. I did talk to Shannon. It looks like they may only be using Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But we still have to throw that possibility out there with the contract.
And I have talked to them as well. I have talked to the person in charge of that, who was, that was directed to, I want to say his name is George, I could be mistaken. But he said that, I asked him if we could have the parks pretty much left alone from Friday to Monday. He said that should not be a problem. So check with them, they don't have anything on the schedule for that weekend. So I was gonna say, this is tentative, we're still firming.
What was the weekend? Sorry.
Saturday, June 22nd, from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, that is kind of the biggest thing that we are working on. We got the new swing set installed, but I do have to ask for 1832. That is what we're asking to come out of our budget to be approved, because we have to add the additional ADA ramp onto that now that we have the ADA swing set.
Okay, so that's separate from the.
That is separate from the Centennial, I'm sorry, but.
And how much is that again? You said
1832.
1832.
I was gonna say, I have talked to David, the street department, he is happy to install it free of charge. I was gonna say, it's pretty easy, we have to have it.
Ramp is that?
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
ramp so
yeah.
that the wheelchairs can get it to.
Now that we have the ADA everywhere else, we have to have the ramp.
Okay, so let's talk about the ramp first, because that'll be the easy part. We need a motion to approve expenditure of $1,832 or $1,832 for the purchase of the ramp, which the street department will install at no cost.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion passes unanimously. So there's your ramp. Let's go back to your budget for the Fall Festival. So if you're looking to actually make money off of this, as of right now, it doesn't look like you.
No, and we
going
knew
to.
that we were not going to necessarily make money. I knew that this is something that you guys had asked us to kind of start planning. We did look at the Fall Festival last year. The t-shirts and the selling of all that is pretty much just to help kind of replenish what we are taking out.
Okay.
Because we understand that we still have park equipment that needs to be updated. We know that, I know that you guys had discussed the tennis courts, so we are aware that there are other needs and just the general maintenance of the parks that also has money coming out, for mowing and things like that. So it's just to kind of help what we're taking out to plan for the day.
And for the porta potties, how many does that cover?
It covers 2, which if I understand correctly, I know that the softball and the baseball have already asked for porta potties to
So
be
they
there.
have one at each field?
We will
on
have
each side.
a handicap and a regular porta potty at Nelson.
Okay, so in addition to
In
the
addition,
other.
yes, just because of that.
It may be a
that
bit
day.
far walk.
Yes, yep. And we would probably have them very similar to what we had at the Fall Festival, where they'll be tucked by the trees, by the road.
Okay.
They're closer, like where the concession stand is, along there, along the trees, so they're kind of out of the way, they're not in the way of the food, you're not smelling it while you're trying to eat as well. There you go.
Can we try not to break the drain tile this time?
Very, very salty that day. We fixed it. So, sorry.
Let's see. Does anyone have any questions or discussion regarding the budget? In addition to what you've got here, your band expenditure.
I did forget to put that on there, and I realized that I had pulling up, so I just didn't handwrite it. But I was gonna say, we are looking at a band. If we do decide to do that, the average estimate is looking at about $500 for 4 hours. So I was gonna say that seems to be the going rate for most of the bands locally. We're looking at Classic Moments. I know that's one that's pretty famous around here. Melinda's a huge fan of them. So I was gonna say that's kind of what we're looking at. They're asking for a little bit more, but we're hoping that they'll realize that this is, we need some wiggle room. So I was gonna say approximately $500. So the roundabout tentative amount is about $7,000, but we realize that's a huge ask, but we're hoping that someone will get some help along the way. NIPSCO did agree to sponsor $500 with us, so we'll be paying them on the signage, t-shirts, things like that. But we are still actively looking for sponsors, and then again, we're hoping raising money from the shirts and the craft vendors will kind of help again replenish what we are spending.
Do you know what we put in the budget for the fall festival? We're kind of off-site, so that's okay.
So I'm saying, I know that we raised off of the donation raffles around 400 something. I was gonna say, we did not charge for the vendors at that time because it was really the first time we had tried to see how the craft vendors would go. So this time now that we know that it was successful, that is why. So we are asking also, we did a silent auction, which is where that 400 was raised from. And so we're asking that all of the vendors again donate a basket or an item, that we do a silent auction again, because that actually worked out really well for us. But again, this will change, I'm sure, before the next meeting, as we are still very much firming things up.
So what do you need approved from your budget this evening?
Just that I was gonna say, the things that are not tentative at this time, I was gonna say, like the kid activities, the face painting, the bouncy cat, the bouncy house, things like that, the rubber graphic arts for the t-shirts, things like that, the signage, just so we can advertise this for people, again, who don't have social media. I was gonna say that, again, the beer tent is just an idea, if we can make it work, but I was gonna say that that's why I put tentative, because I don't know how much the insurance and things are, and I realize that that's a huge ask. I was gonna say, I'm saying if we don't have the beer tent, then we don't really need the security, we don't need half of the other stuff. So I think it was like 38, I think, without the additional.
Don't everybody speak all at once,
Do we have
please.
to worry about any kind of insurance when things like this happen? Is there?
I put it on there, I knew you were gonna ask.
Sorry.
So
Gotcha.
I would suggest tonight that maybe we start with approving rubber graphics, so you can move forward with that, because that's gonna take the
Perfect.
longest.
Okay.
And then I know with the others, I don't know if there's a fee that you're gonna have to put down on them as a deposit for right now.
I talked to
don't know
Cassandra,
when the date-
because she's worked with us so well, she said it would not be a problem going forward, so. She
Okay.
said pretty much we can pay when we go to pick it up, they already have done the mock-up with the quote.
Right, but I meant with the others to reserve for the rentals or for the face painting or the porta potties or anything else.
The porta potties, they did not require deposits. When we did the fall festival, it was just pretty much, they just asked us to pay them and they dropped them off.
Okay.
I was gonna say, the tent, I know they did say something about that because it's a popular date, that's the only reason the deposit would be necessary. But again, the tent is not necessary if we don't get the clearance from the commission, the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission, so.
Okay.
But again, we don't have to pay for security and we don't.
Okay. So what about NWI rentals for the photo booth?
That, I was gonna say, that is up there as an activity we'd like to do. I mean, the face painting, all that is just, I mean, I guess it's all tentative, but those are things that we'd like to
Okay.
work for the kids, at least for the main part of the day.
Okay.
So really, the only thing really up in the air is the alcohol, the beverages part.
So why don't we start by asking for approval for the 1940-50, $1,940.50, for you to start off with reprographic arts, and then that'll allow us to go back and check the numbers.
Perfect.
And then we can come back a little more responsibly with the funding for you.
We're grateful with anything we can get. Like I said, we are still working on trying to get sponsors as well, so hopefully we have a couple weeks. It's coming up fast.
Council, does that sound good to everyone here?
Yep.
Everyone? Yes.
Make a motion then?
We would need a motion to approve the expenditure of $1,940.50 to reprographic arts for shirts, koozies, and signage for the fall, or the 100th centennial celebration.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. So you've got at least that to start with, so you can get those shirts and koozies and everything else ordered.
We appreciate it, thank you.
And then,
That's all I have, honestly,
Okay.
for now.
When do you need a final blessing to do this?
I would say, hopefully, I was gonna say, we're gonna start meeting twice. We're gonna meet twice next month, just because we're ramping up.
Next
So I was gonna say next month is probably, but again, there's 4 of us, and now hopefully a 5th, that'll probably.
if the event is in June, we're gonna need to do that next month.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we're still firming things up, just because some of our ideas we've been going back and forth, so.
And Crystal, if you'll send us the numbers on what that budget figure is. I know we had added money in specifically for the centennial celebration last year, but I don't remember what that exact number is right off the top of my head, and I don't have it with me.
Yeah.
So,
I might be able to go back.
If somebody were to make a donation towards this, they make it,
We're asking everything to go to the town hall, so that way our hands are free here, so that way if any numbers get audited, we know where the money is, and so do you guys.
gotcha.
So I was gonna say, just because we're just the park board, so we're asking for checks, and then it just in the memo to put for the Centennial Festival.
and have you considered doing any local media outreach?
We thought about maybe doing it, but we just figured with already our ask for everything, we're probably not going to get it for free. So Facebook is how we're using it, and hopefully the signage, but if you guys have any contacts, we're happy to take them.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I know there's a local radio station, I would have it, I don't.
So there are 2. There's WIMS and WFM.
Okay.
And then they can go back and forth with.
I'll reach out to them, I used to work for WSBT, so I know radio advertising, things like that can be pricey.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I'm happy to get the word out, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as the ideas of what we're trying to do for that day before I got ahead of myself, or ahead of ourselves.
Okay, fantastic. So then we'll come back to you with a definite number then next week.
We appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you.
Before she goes, if you're going to send out a postcard, can we put a blurb on the bottom for the 100 cent?
I think it would depend on how much space is on that postcard.
Yeah,
But yeah,
just-
if we have space,
but
absolutely.
even if it's just go to the Facebook account, just to look and get people to know.
We appreciate it, I was gonna say,
You're not on.
we have this idea where we're gonna advertise on Facebook by asking people to send in pictures and memories that they have of growing up in Trail Creek too. And we're gonna play a slideshow behind our tent at the Centennial Festival. So we're hoping that'll kind of draw some attention with that too. And, to people asking around or asking for pictures, we're hoping that'll maybe reach some ears that we didn't reach before, so
Okay.
we're trying.
You've got a lot on your plate.
A little bit.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to our building inspector. Hello, Mr. Thomas.
One thing I've got is Crystal alerted me yesterday about house on.
Thank you.
Sorry, Crystal alerted me yesterday about house on South Whiskey, 3408. That looks like it's been bought and renovated, and I think we've all seen their signs on Johnson and 20, the signs that say we buy houses. There's actually a company called We Buy Houses. So I will be stopping by there tomorrow. I think there's also a house in Starling and Brookdale, the same company. So I'll be having a conversation with them.
Okay.
I saw the work they did at the house on Risky.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah, I never go down that road, so yesterday was the first time.
I haven't seen that one yet, so.
It's right at Killdeer and Risky, I believe. Yep.
So it's on the opposite side of Wallen Auto,
Oh,
probably about halfway down the road.
not where I was thinking at all.
What were you thinking?
Right there, just south of the intersection of Greenwood and Risky, on the east side of the road by Killdeer.
Okay.
I think that's a house that was developed or remodeled by a private
It
developer.
was, yeah.
That was
I thought
not
maybe
the
that-
same company.
Definitely not. Okay.
Half a mile away.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay, nice to see you this evening. Thank you.
All right, I'm shutting it off.
Moving on to planning and zoning.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. And our police department.
Hello. Hello. I was just telling her before she leaves, I want it'd be nice if she could put our Centennial badge logo on their shirts and koozies, so we'll see what she says at some other time. The only thing I got to talk about relates to our vehicles. As you're aware, we had a special meeting a couple of weeks ago. We met down at Eco Building. And I proposed, I explained that we have a 2018 Charger in the engine right now, and we got a quote for a new engine. However, it was literally a brand new engine, and they're out of back order nationally. So after ordering it, we found out a few days later we could not get a brand new order for this vehicle. They were able to find one through Jasper, which is an aftermarket. Unfortunately, the cost was more than what we anticipated. So I would ask that you increase the amount. The car's already been repaired, it's back on the road. The actual invoice set $10,720.37, and that's out the door. And that does include the same warranty, even though it's an aftermarket. Still $100,000 per year on the motor.
Okay. So we'll need a motion to approve the amended amount for repair.
How much more was that than the original?
$1,356.17.
I move to approve the additional $1,356.17 to repair the 2018 Charger.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It lasts, the 2015 Charger, we're going for decommissioning this weekend, so that'll be done. And then the Explorer, the 2015 Explorer, and then we have the title, we have the title out, and we'll get that thing advertised and get rid of that.
Anything else?
That is all I have.
Does anyone have any questions for Steve?
I'm good.
Thank you very much, and as always, we appreciate your support.
Thank you, Marshall.
And our street department commissioner was not able to attend this evening, but he did send a report. I was hoping one of his employees might be here. All right, so let's see, this is kind of a long report, so I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can. The plow and dump trucks have no issues to report this month. One remains set up for winter operations while the other is ready for regular use if and when needed. I think he just is a little gun shy on taking the plow off of there just in case, because April's not over yet. The 2,500 ton pickup trucks, there are no issues to report there. Both are being used regularly during daily operations. The loader and Bobcat, we purchased and replaced an overhead beacon light on the Bobcat as the mounting base in the old one was found to be broken, thus allowing the beacon to sway around at the top of the machine. Other than that, there are no issues to report, and both items are being used when and where needed. The leaf machine, all of the parts that they've been waiting on over the winter are in, and the machine is being put back together as of this Monday, should have been operational. And spring cleanup has begun this week and continues through May 3rd. The lawn machines, the chipper, and all those things, they are out of storage and being serviced right now, so they'll be in service when the weather breaks. To be noted here, Napa notified them of an annual sale that they have on all filters and oil during the first 3 weeks of March. So they used that sale to their advantage and stocked up. And what would have normally cost us about $607 for all the filters, we saved about $454, having spent $215.92. So a nice way to take advantage of that sale. Again, spring cleanup dates are April 15th through May 3rd. That includes leaves in biodegradable bags, sticks, limbs, and branches that are separate from those leaves, yard and garden debris, again, separate from sticks, limbs, and branches and/or leaves. And a reminder that you can use your yard waste toter for Friday pickup throughout the year for everything except for leaves. The reminder for yard waste, you do need to use the toter, the yard waste toter, for grass clippings. Construction material, household items, appliances, tires, etc., those large items, there is a dumpster behind the town hall that you can use. You just have to call the street department or contact the clerk's office to schedule that to get opened up. But large item pickup is limited to one item per week for Borden. And you do need to call ahead to do that. Again, Crystal, Pete, and I spoke with Eric from Borden about the yard waste toters. You can contact Borden directly to get one extra toter. They will not charge you until you have 3 that they're being picked up, but then they'll start charging $8 a month. For roadways, continuing on, pothole repair, they have used 2 tons of coal patch this year so far to repair potholes. There have still been complaints about Johnson Road, both in person and via telephone about how bad the road is throughout the town. While there aren't any deep potholes, there are many shallow surface imperfections, and just keep in mind that a lot of that road patch won't hold in very shallow areas. So until those potholes, unfortunately, are a little bit deeper, not a lot will change for that. He said he was contacted by Amanda from the park board regarding installation of the ADA ramp. They're awaiting the arrival for that kit, and then they'll be happy to help with the installation. At Condon Park, they've got 2 requests for estimates that are coming for resurfacing and possibly setting up one of the courts, tennis courts there for pickleball. They did contact Art Asphalt, who did send us an estimate. And then they've got another company from Franklin, Indiana that said that they wouldn't be able to come out until June 1st, as they're already full for the season until that time, but they'll notify Dave if they become available. Moving on, the dog park over at Pritz Park, they have installed seated low areas in the larger park side. Earlier this spring, when they dug up some of the dirt from Nelson Park to install the new swing set, they took that topsoil over to Pritz Park and installed it there in the lower lying areas to kind of repair areas that were low lying so that there wasn't pooling of water. They then seeded that, so everything has turned out really nicely. There are several other low lying areas that they've noticed, so they're going to use other materials, dirt and soil, as those become available from other projects to correct those issues. So far with the work they've done, though, they have received positive feedback and comments. In addition, over at Pritz Park, they've installed a cable lock to secure large garbage cans, as they are regular finding the 2 cans that they leave at the park moved and sometimes even dumped over when they go out to clean up the park, and that causes them to have to take a lot of additional time to clean up the garbage that's blown around. They have 2 solar radar signs that they're putting together to install as time and manpower permits for the police department. Spring cleanup, of course, takes priority at the moment, and the welcome signs, as reported last month, are in the shop and being stored. The removal of the old signs, placement location of the new signs still needs to be finalized, and hopefully we'll have those in place as soon as the weather breaks and time and manpower permits. Couple more things, we're almost there. Regarding salt for the 2024-2025 winter season, we're already thinking ahead. Dave has said open bidding has closed, and we've received verification and acceptance for our request for the 100 tons of treated salt for next winter season. And then we have one employee who has an injury that he's got right now, and Dave is monitoring that situation for us as well. Any questions from anyone? Any comments? Sounds like the street department's been a little bit busy. The one quote that he did give us from Arndt Ceiling Incorporated for the tennis courts, which would include total removal of the tennis courts and the fence. It includes installation of the new material. It includes lining the courts as well, with any colors that might be needed, and then painting the proper lines up for tennis and for pickleball. That total cost, they're estimating at $157,370. So I think that's something the council's really going to have to take into consideration, as that is a considerable amount more than what I think that you thought it might be. Indeed. And so that would be the report from the street department. And we'll move on now to NERC.
I'd like to ask the council to reassign nursing.
So Crystal and I spoke earlier today about the NERC assignment that she's been given as the representative from the council. Right now, she's got a little too much going on in the office. There have been several other issues that have come about this year, and she just doesn't have the time to get away even the one time a month. So she's asked that we nominate somebody else to take the NERC meetings over, if you will, and to attend those in her place. Do we have any volunteers?
What day?
That's a good question. I don't have that in front of me, but I can get those to you if you're interested.
Sure.
Are you volunteering?
Sure.
Okay.
I move to nominate Warren Sack as the NERC representative.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve Warren Schacht as the NERC representative moving forward for this year. Any opposition? Any questions, any comments?
Who's having a position?
Okay. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Warren.
Yeah.
And congratulations on
Warren.
your assignment. I will find out things for you and I'll send those over to you.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Moving on to old business. We need to have an update on the town hall remodel.
All right, so what we have here, you might want to hang on to that one. See the one here. That's just the original. What you have in front of you, the first sheet, would be the change orders that's taking place. We have, we're a week and a half into the project, or 2.5 weeks into the project, and we've demolition, and the interior walls are being framed up, or pretty much all are framed up on the office side. A lot of electrical work. We've had a plumber come in. We ran into, as the plumber came in, they had to, that's because of the relocating of the restrooms, they had to cut the floor, of course, and get access to the underground piping. In doing so, they discovered that the duct work that was also in the ground had the asbestos around it. So, transit pipe. So they, I quickly called, because everything just stopped. The plumber's not going to mess around with that. So I quickly was able to call the contractor, the abatement contractor, and they came out the next day, today, and removed it. It was about 8-foot section of pipe that was in the way. Well, that's fine. And we're good from that part. You see in front of you, like I say, the change orders 1 through 5, that's what we've have discussed. I don't know if you have any questions on just those guys.
It sounds like the flooring provision saved us a nice chunk of money, cut that in half almost.
Which, yeah. And this next sheet will be what I have created.
So if you wouldn't mind, can you read through those change orders so that we can have those on public record?
Yeah, they're at least electronically provided so far.
So we've got changes to the original bid. The original bid was $360,000. You've got flooring revision credit of $3,156.64. Relocation of the well tank at a cost of $2,226. Demolition of the brick half wall, is that in the front or the back? Okay, total of $636. Glass block window framing at $1,669.50. And change number 5 was installation of a new electrical panel at a cost of $1,902.70. So the total change orders that are being requested are $3,277.56, which changes the bid to $363,277.56. So before we move forward, can we have a motion to approve this change order?
I move to approve the change order with the addition of the $3,277.56.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries.
The second sheet you'll see includes those change orders, and in addition to all the others that have come about, which was the abatement, you'll see that in there, and then we had our AV gentleman come in for a half an hour and give us some helpful advice to place the boxes. We've got Circle R Electric that actually put the electrical boxes and communication boxes for our future monitors and microphones. So Circle R came in and actually installed it, and then our AV gentleman came in and just verified that we were putting where we were and where we're supposed to be and the correct ones. But if you want to start from the top, that's that you've seen the ones I put the COR, as we just discussed. The people pulling cable I haven't put approved next to, we haven't done it yet, and that's down the line a little bit. But that was his estimate. We continue on with the AD system. I just still it's a estimate between 50 and 75 if we move forward. Sometime move forward on that. I would suggest again to wait till we get closer to the end of the project so we have a better idea of what we have left in the funds. Then the consultant, I explained, data box, that's explained, water tank, you see that was listed and promoted. Again, the abatement shows I put abatement 1 and 2, one was a tile, one was a pipe from today. And then look at that. So you'll see where on my far right corner column, I started out with totals, subtracted, added, and then subtracted again, and the bottom line is what we currently would have left over. As of today.
Okay.
But we are moving, I'm glad we are, honestly, very nice working with Holiday Construction. They are very nice, easy to work with. They see things that they just recommend. They don't tell you to do it, but they bring it to my attention, and then we either do or don't. Sometimes I've contacted Steve. Sometimes I've contacted Doug, our architect. And you'll see on the one line there, there's a second from the bottom, it says front door and transom credit. They did not have that number for me for tonight, they'll have it by tomorrow. What that means is that originally, whoever was in our design team, let's call it, whatever that was, somebody had suggested that maybe put double doors in front. And this is Doug telling me, because I asked him, I said, we had a problem with the transom window above the door, which I can't show you. It's like those kind of much smaller than those front door windows. But anyway, there was a problem there, so it led me to ask him about the front door. And I know that's been kind of questioned before about apparently that door has been put in not too long ago.
Very recently.
Yeah.
That and the double doors.
So anyway, I asked Doug, I said, do we really need to change that door right now? And he said, no. He said that he just said that somebody thought it was a good idea to put a double door in to help get furniture in and out. He says, but as far as the compliant, we're fine. So that's why I told him, I said, well, then we'll just pause. Because we could, like I said, that doesn't have to be done now. If we decide we want to do it later
So
on.
even if we have the double door to get furniture in and out, the interior doors would not necessarily be any wider.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I know,
okay,
I'm
just thinking.
passing the word on what I was saying. So that kind of made me say, hold it, we don't need to do that, so that's what.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was one of those executive things that
I think we do need to formally approve the abatement of the asbestos from the pipe. I don't think that we formally did that as a council.
no, I haven't kind of.
That has to be retroactive, and that happened kind of quickly because it was an emergent situation with the workers being there right at the moment to help avoid any further exposure. So
So
we could ask
a little
for,
bit of a story behind that. When I make contact, the gentleman I usually contacted, I did, but he was in New York on another project. And they're based out of Hammond. So they were kind enough he was kind enough, it's not Lewis, kind enough to contact his boss, which was in Hammond. His boss actually dropped everything, came over right away yesterday, and take a look and make arrangements for us to get this done. So it's kind of nice that they did that. But they come from a distance and they're union and there's a rate, so that's what the $2,600 is.
okay, so if we could ask for retroactive approval of the $2,600 for asbestos abatement near the plumbing that needed to be removed. Can we have a motion? Anybody?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you,
I'm
Laura.
not supposed to make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Pete. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Hearing none opposed, motion carries unanimously. I just want to make sure that's all documented and legitimate there. So as of right now, we still have some money left in the budget. We're still doing well, it looks like, according to your figures.
So far,
All right.
I tried to,
Any other
Keep it
changes
tight.
that you're aware of that are forthcoming?
sorry.
Any other changes that you're aware of that are forthcoming?
Yeah, but
But you're not ready to discuss those
No,
now?
I'm not, I know something's gotta come, but
You're just not sure what.
I'm trying to make it not be financially burden on us.
Okay, just try to keep in mind that they do need approval
Yes,
before you move forward, so,
yep.
okay. All right, so was that all for the town hall?
Right now, yeah.
Okay. Moving on to new business, we have Mrs. Daniel here regarding the fence ordinance.
Me?
Yes.
Diane.
Diane.
Oh, no,
Ms. Carter.
it's Daniel.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Mrs. Carter. Daniel, if you want to come up to the podium here, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Daniel Overton, live at 233 Leo. We're trying to get permission to extend our fence a little bit beyond the front of the house. Kind of a backstory on our house. We're 233 Leo, but our house faces Oakland. So we have no backyard at all. Our neighbor's right behind us. We have a little bit on the side that's fenced. What we want to do is we want to add a pool. However, the septic is back there, so we can't put a pool on top of the septic. So we're trying to get like 10 to 15 feet just on the side. Nothing would be directly in front of the house. It's on the side that's away from the corner, so it's not near the corner. The neighbor's house has a big pine tree right next to our yard, so you wouldn't even be able to see the fence as you're driving down the street.
And have you-
Or chain link, or we,
Vinyl, kind of like the designer vinyl.
And have you talked to your neighbors to see if they mind?
We don't really have permanent neighbors. The house across the street does Airbnb, VRBO. The other house across the street, they just moved, they're renting now. And then the other house next to us, they're renting, and their renters are frequently changing. So we don't have any permanent neighbors right next to us, aside from behind us that is on Leo Street, not on Oakland.
Okay, and have you spoken with them to see if they mind?
I haven't talked to them. I can talk to them though. They're really nice.
The other thing that I would ask that you consider is, or maybe the council needs to consider as well, is the fact that there's a stop sign right there, or a yield sign. Would you be, because I'm looking at on Google Maps right now
Oh,
on your
okay.
house.
Yeah, we're away from there. I got pictures I can show you if you want to see them.
Have you,
I'm trying to see
everything been
exactly
cleaned up
where.
as far as
Oh, okay.
brush that's there, because the
The
trees.
bushes?
Yeah, there are a lot of trees and
Can I
wishes, yes,
interject a bit?
please.
You're having a conversation that I believe is outside of your purview.
Okay.
And any
It should go to the
variations
planning and
in
zoning board.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
BZA and the variance, and that's the appropriate
Yeah,
board, and going through the petition, and you have to go present your case to them, but you don't have the authority to make that decision or give that permission.
exactly.
And
But
we
you do
called
have
the
a lot to
building
consider.
inspector, and then he suggested we contact town hall, and they told us to come here.
Come here. So it's nice to meet you. And we appreciate your comment.
Contact the town hall, set up a meeting,
Yeah.
BZA.
So you do want to contact, if we can get a planning and zoning meeting set up,
Okay.
and then you'll want to contact.
Every month or something.
Or start with the packet, if you have a packet, so then set up your meeting if and when they submit their.
Okay, so
And you'll contact Crystal with that.
contact Crystal?
Yes.
Okay. So just,
So I know it's all a little confusing.
okay. So give Crystal a call tomorrow, or?
I would say tomorrow, is that good for you?
It's great.
Well, and I would also reference, just to help you out, not give you legal advice, you can go on, because she can't advise you, nobody can advise you on what you need and how you go about it. So the town code is on the town website.
Yeah.
And that will give you the requirements and what's allowed, and then making sure that you lay out properly, but that gives the procedure to follow in addition to any packet they have.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. And then we have the Blueprint software next. We'll get to you in just a few minutes. So we're to the Blueprint software now.
Okay, so we looked into the Blueprint software that we had purchased, and we did a monthly report of all the permits coming in. And the total for the year is $12,000 for Blueprint, and we are not making enough money in permits to even use the software. So we were looking to cancel.
The Blueprint software was originally intended to connect multiple agencies, if you will, or departments throughout the town. The police department, the building inspector, the other inspectors, the clerk's office, everyone who might need access to that to see if there was an active permit on one job or another would have access to that. But if we're not collecting enough permitting fees to pay for that, then that becomes another expense for the town that we might not have the money for right now.
So I provided a copy to Gopi for our contract to go over to make sure that we can cancel that. I wanted to make sure that you guys wanted to cancel it before we look into actually canceling. We have a plan in play. Me and Steve have talked about doing a Google Doc kind of worksheet so that we can update. It's almost like the same software except free.
Okay. And that would suit your needs, are those things?
And, it's one of those things, over time, we'll improve upon it
Okay.
as things change.
And then you can share that back and forth between the departments that need access, and Steve, you and your guys could access that, I think, on the road as well.
So Google Docs.
Google Docs.
Anybody can edit it, and then it's viewable by everyone.
Right, you can assign somebody to be able to change the doc. So if, for instance, he wanted to know there was a permit, we needed a permit approved, he can just go in and make the approvals. Instead of having to scan back and forth, he can make that approval for us so we can get these permits out faster.
I've used that too.
I think our biggest issue might be is making sure that somebody doesn't accidentally delete or change something that they didn't need to.
That's why it's just view only. We would just view only.
Yeah.
So then the only people who had access to change would be yourself and Crystal then, probably.
Well, and it's also logged, whoever makes the last change, it's logged in that actual document, so you can go back and say, hey, I see this isn't here now, what did you do when you were in there, and they can,
Which is a good idea. So Chris, are you looking into how we can?
If that's your pleasure, I will work to grab a copy and see.
Council thoughts, comments otherwise?
Do we need a motion
I
on?
think we need a motion to cancel the Blueprints software contract.
As long as
As long as it's permissible.
right, I make that motion.
Okay. So the motion that Pete made was to cancel the contract with Blueprint Software as long as it's permissible via contract. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, do we have a second?
Second.
I'd like to make another comment.
Echo.
What's that?
Echo.
Yeah. We have co-seconds between Lauren and Chris.
Crystal has another comment.
Any other comment, Crystal? Before we do the final vote?
Yeah, so now that I have the approval, I was going to call and see if we could get some type of a refund since we've never used the software, only to learn how to use it.
Okay. I don't know that we'll get that refund, but you can never.
Please do, yes.
In the event that we can't cancel it, do we try and spend the next 7 or 8 months trying to learn it, just to see what it would work?
Let's see if we can cancel it first.
Yeah.
And who seconded that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
So we had a co-second between Chris and Lauren.
Chris.
And hearing no further comments or questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Here's none opposed, that passes. Now we're at public comment. So we've got a lady right here in the brown sweatshirt first, who's going to approach the podium if you would.
Okay.
State your name and address for us, so we can.
I'm Diane Carter. I live at 1927 Woodlands Road, and I'm grateful to be still alive. I'm serious.
Yeah.
You see these pictures.
Oh, you were the house.
And this picture, I need to send around.
For those who are not aware, Mrs. Carter's home
Yes.
was,
Run into.
for lack of another way to say it, run into by a vehicle. A vehicle crashed into the
On
front.
April 3rd, that picture that is passing around on my phone is my couch that I was sitting on. About 5 to 10 minutes before this driver went into my home. I was blessed by God to go mail something in my mailbox, otherwise I would not be standing here. This is the 4th time someone has come into our yard. There has never been any serious incident like this, but I think probably it's only on the police records once because it's things like sliding on the ice, coming in the yard. So I kind of put some big boulders there to prevent that. And it did that for a couple things, and so, one would say, well, this was a drunk driver, it'll never happen again, or whatever, but, people drive with Alzheimer's. People, get diabetic comas. I can't go through it again, okay? And it is a very dangerous intersection anyway, but I happened to look up when I was at the mailbox because I thought, why is he going so fast, but he made a mistake and put his gas on instead of his brake. So I don't know how fast he was going, but I think Jennifer and I don't know, but other people have looked at a video that my neighbor caught. And I thought my mind just kind of made it up that it was so fast, but when you look at the video, it was extremely fast. So that could happen again. I do realize that the street department always piles up all of their snow from Yankee in front of my yard. So what I'm asking for is a barrier. I'm asking for, on the opposite side of the street, on Yankee, there is a barrier because people have gone up into her yard, sliding on the ice, making her corner. I'm still really nervous, guys, so it's not because I'm talking to you, I'm not sleeping. And even when I was watching him, I honestly thought I was going to have a heart attack. I mean, it was just, we're just old people living in our house, we're not, goodness. And he was living with his grandfather next door, so he was trying to go home, but he went to the wrong house. Anyway, so I'm asking for those metal barriers that would go across my property. It's not gonna look that great, but I don't even want my grandbabies to come over. I mean, it's that scary to me. you know? I mean, I kind of joked about it before, but because people have come up in the yard. One was a motorcycle, the kid did a flip, you know, but no one ever came all the way up to the property, you know, and it was so loud. My husband's a Vietnam vet. He momentarily had a PTSD reaction. And I went in, the house was full of smoke, and it was the airbags, and the police department kind of calmed me down because I thought the car was on fire. I didn't know who to be the most afraid for. My husband, the driver, what, you know? So anyway, that's what I'm asking for.
I think I can speak on behalf of the council in saying that we're glad that you're okay, both you and your husband.
Yes.
And that neither of you were hurt. Now, if no one has seen these pictures, this is a picture of the car that was in the front of the house. So the car went totally into
Three-fourths
the home.
of my home.
So when she says it was scary, she means every ounce of that.
Everything in the basement, in that part of the house, was put in a dumpster yesterday, every single thing.
And I think you said before the meeting, you told me that they had to take your sofa out in pieces.
Yeah, it was split in half, it was a flex steel, so it was made pretty well. And the bottom that had the metal split in two. There's no way I would be alive.
Those things being said, Mr. Willoughby, do you know if there are any rules that we'll have to look into before?
Well, I think you should consult with the street department, the police department, the engineer, and, you know, do some due diligence and just make a commitment that, you know, look into it and get back to her at this point.
It started out, I wanted to say how wonderful the Trail Creek Police Department was. Because this driver actually got out of his vehicle, climbed out the window, and was going to a home. He was going to flee the scene, but the police were already there. I mean, like my neighbor called, I didn't even have my phone, I was just holding the mailbox, you know? I mean, I didn't necessarily always have pockets. And so she called 911 and they were there before he could go home. And they were so wonderful to my husband and I, you know, like, so were the Michigan City Police, but the Trail Creek, I mean, they've come back to our home a couple of times to make sure we're okay. They've done a lot of extra patrols because all this publicity, anybody could like go, well, you know, we could get in there and then steal whatever's upstairs, you know. So they've been very, very helpful, and I want to go on record with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that comment.
If the council would like, I can look into that and work with Dave on this, because I'm familiar with barriers. There's several kinds. The guardrail probably looks the best.
So you're probably the most effective too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they have, you know, the blocks, they have bridges, they have landscape boulders and stuff. But, yeah, the guardrail, but I can, if you want, I can, if you don't, that's fine, but I can ask and work with them. To get a measure on that, talk to the engineer about it.
One moment, we have Steve, you had a comment?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys, I'm not trying to throw this in, but I don't know if you guys had a building permit. This is not something because it's structural, it needs to be inspected at least.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
The insurance
company.
The insurance sent out a search engineer, and they are hiring their own team for him to do the, but he knows he has to get some.
Yeah, I just, it's not so much, I just want to go to insurance, yeah, that's all.
Okay, it's already been inspected by a structural engineer, but if you gotta.
So before any work is done, she'll have to file for the permits for sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there. Yeah. Yeah.
It just helps protect you.
And we have to move out of our home for about 6 weeks while they repair it. They may have to also remove the wall upstairs because it may be split inside.
I think Mr. Thomas is just making sure that all the bases are covered for you as the homeowner and resident.
So I'll swing by.
And so if the council would make a motion to allow Warren to be kind of our point person on this and to work with the street department, the police department, and the town engineer to look into placing a barrier in front of the home.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other comments or questions?
Warren's got full-time employment. Right.
All right. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Mrs. Carter, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank God for that.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you need Warren's phone number, if you have questions for him, we can get that to you after the meeting. Okay. All right, moving on. We have another person for
Yes,
public
I would
comment.
just like to say good evening to the board, and I need to come before the board. I
I need to stop. Thank you. I was going to say, if you could state your name and address for me, even though I know who you are.
Penelope Turner. I am a former employee of Town of Trail Creek, and I would like to say that most of you know who I am, but I would like to say for all of you that during my tenure there as a assistant, I have been discriminated against. And I would like to say that I have devoted a lot of my time to Trail Creek because I want to make sure that the transition for the clerk treasurer was a smooth transition, and I stayed and been committed to Town of Trail Creek for as long as I could until the transition took place. But in February, I was unfortunately trying to be a good employee because I needed to go to the hairdresser, and as I was looking at my best at the time, I had a derogatory comment that called me nappy head. Of course, it was a nappy head because after all, on that day I was going to the petition with my hair done. But being a boss should not have been called that, but unfortunately I was. And so therefore, I could have been terminated at that time, but I did not let that take me down. So we continue to be a committed, devoted employee until I no longer could do my job. So obviously I was either not there at the right time, or maybe not there when I should have been there. But still, I lost my job in between, and that's not why I'm here. But I'm here because I should have been apologized to for being such a nappy employee at that time.
Unfortunately, I do have to stop you here because we don't typically address personnel issues in this.
I was told that I need to address the board to make them aware of the situation.
Yes, but that happens in an executive session, not in a, not
I'm not sure because I don't have that employee handbook to tell me what should be done.
That's actually not an employee handbook, that's a state code, I believe.
Well,
that
I
we should
will
be
say
handling.
this, first I just want to remind that it's public comment, and if she decides she wants to discuss what she alleges to be her employee, you could not publicly disclose that. She could disclose whatever she'd like, you know, appropriate time limits, although you had someone else speak tonight, and otherwise I'm just reminding you it's public comment and
But I'd like to say, as an African-American employee, we do struggle in the workplace with that type of comment from our employers, but it's just an ongoing thing where it hasn't changed till this day. And I can say that maybe I was the first Black employee that had ever been employed with the Town of Trail Creek as in the clerk treasurer's office, but I felt that I should not have been singled out inappropriately that way. That is what my comment really is about, not for being terminated, because I like to say to you, maybe the contractors permit that came in on that day to get the permit or become a contractor, I was not there. I'm only human, and I do apologize for not being on my post as I should have been on Good Friday, even though I don't know if the post got there after they realized I was not there, or maybe it got there before. But I guess that post doesn't apply to me, and I should have been there with them on that day. 3 hours of work is what I lost, but in the end, I lost my job. And I would just like to say, I don't know In the past, it's always been, you know, as a description of the town treasurer, to come and go. You make that choice to close the office, it's closed. But for me, on that day, I did not make that choice, but I didn't show up. I sure didn't, but I would like to say, I'm only human. On my behalf, it was something I did, and I paid the price with my job.
I have no comment on that publicly, so I'll
I guess
thank you
not.
for your comments, but I can't comment back.
Yeah, no one can come back, but I did lose my job on behalf of the discussion between the boards that I was told, because it wasn't that I was disorganizing my work, because I was never told that. But if I was disorganizing my work, maybe we could have fixed that, but I was never told that. I was only told that I was not there. I was the wrong time at the wrong place. So losing my job is one thing I did do. So I don't know what happened, but it was discussed at the board, so everybody was aware of it. Or maybe certain members were aware of it. But come April, the second, April 1st, is when I became aware of it. So I didn't need to be there anymore. And all this discussion, I did my job well. I was there, I was committed, and I followed through. And things I can follow through is to be put out of the job. Come April 1st with the transition, no, I was not there. I stayed there all the time, just to make sure everything was well, everybody was in place. I was not needed anymore. That's not what I was told, that's the way I felt. I'm not needed anymore. Because I stayed there and did what I needed to do to make sure that everything went well smoothly. As far as I know I did, I was still there, committed, and I know what to do because I can work this out by myself. And still, for 3 hours, I put out, I lost out. That's all it took, 3 hours. Without missing one day of work. Unless it was weather related, I was there, covering everybody. So I'm sorry that I made a mistake, that I always thought that came every year. But being that the transition took place, it was not discussed how far that I need to go or where it was gonna go. So,
Okay.
that's why I'm here today, I'm not here tomorrow, but that's what happened.
Okay.
And that's how it happened. As far as blueprints go, I was the only trainer on that software. And yes, if you pull that software up right today, you will see contractors are in there. I would be willing to train anybody, any of the inspectors that do need training, but I'm not there, I can't do that. I'm the only one that do. Me and the former treasurer, we were the ones that were at the meeting. Everybody that people are coming to the meeting, they were not there. I was there. I know that job. I did that job. I know. So $12,000, no, I'm not gonna trophy within me, but trophy within themselves. Because I know blueprints inside and out.
Okay. Thank you.
But I don't have to worry about that. Because now it's done.
Thank you, Penny. Do we have any other public comment this evening?
My name is Carol Tashima, I live at 1927.
It needs to be read on there. It's on.
My name is Carol Tashima, I live at 1927 East Cool Springs, and I've been there for 300 or 400 years. My comment about what my problem sounds simple compared to hers, but I want to show you some pictures also. This is what I see every day coming into my neighborhood, into my driveway. I live next door to a hoarder, and I know you've dealt with this before, but I feel like I am at the end of my rope. I cannot deal with this anymore. This person This is the tip of the iceberg. There's stuff from where I see, this house used to be a very nice house. My property value is gonna be going down. I mean, it can't help it. If I were to sell my house today and somebody else saw what was next door to that, and anybody can come stand in my yard and see that, and I have an acre and a quarter. I'm lucky, I've got one lot on one side and one lot on another. She's next door, but at least I've got a little bit of space, but I'm seeing this is what I'm seeing every time I pull my driveway. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I listened to a couple town hall meetings in preparation for this, and I heard somebody make a comment about some trash and leaves and stuff on a house on Black Oak. And I felt like the comments from the board were a little dismissive about it, and people acted like we can't make judgments about what's appropriate and what's not. And I'm saying, if this were next door to you, I challenge that we could make a judgment about that. So what can we do about this? This has been going on for years, and I've come to the town hall, and I've left complaints, and I've left things before, and I feel like, I don't know.
So we have actually sent crews out to clean that up several
Oh, I know, that was a long time ago, and somebody got hurt, so they said they weren't gonna send anybody out there anymore.
That was a different street commission. So,
That's, and there has to be vermin.
Yes.
This picture you're looking at are around an indoor pool. This was a functional pool with the people that lived there, you know, 3 families before that, like we've lived there for 40 years.
So what I'd like to do is give these to our police department, because I know that our town marshal knows exactly who to follow up with for this. And
How come this has been happening for 6 years, and every time somebody says, it just keeps getting
When's the last time you called in? When's the last time you called in?
I came to the town hall sometime this early spring, late winter, early spring.
Okay. We'll get it taken care of for you.
This is ridiculous. So it's a mess. I can't imagine what the, I know you can't do anything about the inside, I can't imagine what the inside's like.
We can't do anything about the inside from where we sit, but we can get the outside cleaned up for you. Because this is a nuisance under ordinance, so.
It's horrible, and I said, I looked at the ordinances, and there's like 15 bullet points for junk cars, and I'm thinking, junk car,
This is not just a junk car, this is more.
But none of the ordinances say anything about stuff like this.
This does actually fall under one of the ordinances. I think that our town marshal can help you get this taken care of.
Okay, because I've looked into different things, and it's just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm taking a picture, I'm completely, this is ridiculous.
No, we'll get it taken care of for you, Carol. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking back and I'm back to 22 and I don't see anything. I know that happened like right when the issue was when I first came on the board.
Correct.
And I know Mr. Herbach was taking care of it, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard anything since. That's been at least 4 or 5 years ago.
Steve knows exactly where to start.
Yeah.
So we can get that taken care of. Any other public comment this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to any clerk's comments this evening. Any council comments this evening? You're a quiet bunch tonight.
No, I'm good, I got enough on my plate.
Okay. Since we have no council comments, can we have?
I move to adjourn.
Don't wait on that. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.